Venice, it was arranged for Vondrousova to go back to train there. During this time, she trained for 5 days last week, two of which were in Venice, a few hours from hometown. She had another international success at age 12 when she won the 9th Junior Tour International Masters in the United States, which was regarded as an unofficial 12th and on the World Championship at age 15. She moved to Prague to train more regularly there. Vondrousova has a strong athletic background on her mother's side. Her grandfather's Pensic was the Czechoslovak national pentathlon champion in 1935. So you take a look at her background, her father, her mother, even the grandfather, okay, they were all involved, in sports. What do you make of, the background of Marketa Vondrousova?
Yes, I think she had a very strong background, sporting background. Even though the father was not really a professional tennis player, he was doing it like maybe leisure time and all that. And the mother also was into sports, and at least for me that was the motivation. He grew up hearing stories about even the grandfather, how they were able to make their country proud and all that. And I think that is very good, and I think that was one of the things that made her to pay so much attention, because looking at her story, you will know that he tried other things, and it's always like that. When you're growing up, you tend to play, almost engage in every sport as a kid. Maybe you go here, you see them playing football, you join them and play. Maybe you go here, you see them playing basketball. You tend to play in almost everything, but as you keep growing and all that, you tend to love one. That is one of the things about sports. You tend to pay more attention to one, and I think tennis was there because it seems like the father loved playing tennis, and maybe she always followed her dad to go to play tennis, and maybe that was where the love came from, because she was able to pay so much attention to tennis. And for me, very, very good one for her. I think the background is always very, very crucial for every sports personality or every sportsman, because that will be able to give you that motivation, because you need people around you, you need people beside you, even if it's not your parents, maybe your neighbors, anybody around you that will be able to motivate you, that will be able to come, let's go and play football, come, let's go and play basketball, come, let's go and play tennis. Anybody that can be able to ginger you, I think is always...
Her family, talking about her father, her mother, and her grandfather, of course, being into sports was a very huge motivation for her to, move and also take down tennis as a career for herself. Let's take a look at her junior career, as Vondrousova is a former world #1 junior. She made her debut on the ITF junior circuit at the age of 13 and won both the singles and doubles events at her first tournament, the Grade 5 St. Michael International Tournament in Malta in April 2013. Later in the year, she won a higher level Grade 4 singles event in Poland, as well as a separate Grade 2 doubles event in the Czech Republic. Vondrousova made her Grade 1 debut with a singles semi-final in January 2014, which also followed with a second round loss in her debut at the highest level Grade 8 tournament. Vondrousova fared better in doubles at the French Open, finishing runner-up in that particular tournament, in that particular Grand Slam, to Romanian team of Lona Daciu and Lona Lodana Raska, alongside American Ceci Bellis in match tiebreak. Now, despite losing her opening singles match at her last two great tournaments of the year, the US Open and Orange Bowl, Vondrousova ended 2014 by winning the Orange Bowl double title with Bellis. Vondrousova continued to have success in doubles in 2015, most notably winning her only 2 junior Grand Slam titles and 3 Grade 8 double events in total as well. Now, after we've seen much push from her parents, she went down to the junior championship and she competed in some of the doubles events, and she was able to compete with the likes of Derek Kaskin, Jelena Stepenko, the ladies was seen now in the WCA in the world of tennis. So it was such a nice journey for her. But you take a look at how she's been able to push through. It means she was at some point, good. What was she was very good, in the doubles events.
Yes, I think one thing about being a professional athlete is you have to start at a very young age. You need to go down the grades, different levels. If it's football, you go through the under 8, under 10, under 12, under 14, under 16, all those age grade levels. I think she was able to go through these levels. She played so many junior championship. In fact, one thing about her was at a very young age, she kept traveling around Europe, playing tournaments. Even outside Europe, she was going to play tournaments for her, and the motivation kept her going because she was very very impressive. She was doing a whole lot, and she was impressing even when they were going for tours in Malta, like you said, and other places. And she had to start from the junior level, the Grand Slam, the junior Grand Slam, and she was also doing very well. In fact, if you look at the younger generation, the people we see now in the WTA, like you said, there are people she played along with or she played with doing the junior levels, and for me, she did very well. She was always turning up anytime she was on the court. She was doing a whole lot. She was performing very very well, not just in the singles. She also had to also partake in the doubles, and especially when you are young and injury free, you are always allowed to play the doubles and all that. And she was able to do so well in both the singles and the doubles. And for me, that was very very good for her because she kept playing this game. She kept doing very well, and that helped her. I know that there are age limits to compete in to turn professional and all that, but in junior level she was trying to build her ranking point and all that. And for me, when it was right for her, she was able to enter into matches professionally. And for me, that's always very good. When you do well in the junior level, it's always very easy turning a full professional. And for me, that was one of the highlights of Marketa Vendresova.
What do you make of the female players, coming from Czech Republic? For the past 10 years, we've seen them dominate, the world of tennis presently. And the last one was Marketa Vondrousova winning the Wimbledon title just last week, winning. She defeated the likes of Anshawa, of course, to lift her post Wimbledon title, and she was unseeded, in that tournament, coming up to win that one. For the past 10 years, we've seen female tennis players, from Czech, putting up a bit of dominance in the world of tennis. What do you make of Czech Republic when it comes to tennis?
I think they are doing very well in terms of one thing about it is programs, bringing up programs to help the young athletes. I think one thing about this is learning when you are very small, learning when you are little. You tend to learn more when you start very early. I think they have a special program to train. If you check their ladies, they tend to dominate not just Czech Republic, people from those regions, from Serbia, from all those regions, Czech Republic, Serbia, and all that. In fact, they are the ones dominating the WTA. They are dominating the likes of Arina Sabalenka, all those people. They are dominating, and also, for me, the highlight is the program that they go in when they are very little, and I think they excel in those programs because they are the ones dominating at the moment. I know we still have people from the US, England, and other places, Spain and other, but they tend to dominate because of the numbers in the WTA. And
was very good in the doubles. She actually got to the number one ranking in the junior category during her career as well.
Yeah, yeah, very good one
During
for
her
her.
junior career.
Yeah, her junior career, I think she worked hard for it, and she was able to um, win. In fact, she won matches and won also Grand Slam junior level, and that helped her in the ranking. One thing about tennis is you have to be consistent with your results. Any competition you go in, try to get to the latter stage of those competitions. And she was able to go into the latter stages of those even though she was not winning them, but she was always the semi-finals, quarterfinals, even the finals, and that was her turning point, and she was able to become a world number one at the junior level. And I think during that stage, at least people took notice of her and knew that she was going to be a very big tennis great.
Hmm. Interesting one for Marketa Bondesova. It's been an impressive ride for Ma. Taking a look at her background and also her junior events, the junior events that she participated as well. So from this, you definitely give it up to her that it was looking very promising and that she will be a star one day.
Yeah, very promising because when you're able to be consistent with your results, with your the how you participate, injury free and all that, people tend to notice and it helps you, like I said, in your rankings. And as a junior player, they'll start rating you and trying to project maybe when you will turn professional and all that. So she was able to navigate all those stages of her career, the youth level, and for me that was really her turning point. And she has really worked hard, and her reward is coming. It's not yet done for her. I think this reward for all the hard work she has put in down the years.
All right, let's quickly take a look at her professional career as Marketa Bondesova returned to the tour in January 2017 and won her first two ITF singles events. Back followed by two more runner-up finishes in her third and fifth events. This successes helped her break into the top 300 for the first time by the end of February. At the Ladies Open, Benin in April, Marketa Bondesova had her first big breakthrough. She won her maiden WTA Tour title at the age of 17. It was her second career WTA single event after entering the main draw through qualifying. She upset top seed and world number 18 Barbara Stankova in the semi-final. She then defeated Annette Kontaveit in the final with the title. She rose to number 117 in the world. This is an impressive move. Just getting to the professional career, she started hitting the ground running.
Yes, first impression matters in everything, and she was able to make that impression, and people started
From
noticing.
300 to 117.
Exactly, and you know when you are ranked outside the top 100, sometimes they don't favor you in doing the Grand Slam events. In fact, the top 100 gives you an opportunity to go into the qualifiers for every major Grand Slam event. Sometimes, okay, you get the wild card and all that, but the wild card doesn't really come all that. You have to prove that that you are worthy for the wild card. But when you are in the top 100, you get an opportunity to enter into the qualifiers of all these major Grand Slam events. That's why they pay so much attention to the WTA events. It could be ITF and the ITF event, something 1,000, something 800, but you have to pay attention to all those mini events so that it helps you in your rankings. And she was able to grow, or she was able to get a step up from 300 to she started going
or
Yes.
winning titles.
That's what tennis is all about. When you win the high-ranked players, it helps to boost your own ranking because when you beat someone that is highly playing this established tennis player or especially people. She was always trying to make sure she beat give all those upsets to these tennis players, and she had to do that. And for me, it helped her in her ranking. She was before she even turned, was it 18 or 19? So it was a very quick one because she was able to defy all odds, beat people, and it helped her in her ranking.
A very promising player talking about Marketa Vondrousova. She made her Grand Slam championship debut at the French Open. She made it through qualifying and defeated Amadine Hessel in her first main draw match before losing to Dara Kesekina. Vondrousova was hurriedly accepted into the main draw at Wimbledon, losing her opening match. Later that month, she won another ITF title, the $80,000 Prague Open, to rise to number 68 in the world. Not less, she again lost her opening match at the US Open, despite pushing to number 8. Despite pushing to number 8 season after September. But attempting the Grand Slam tournament wasn't that easy, for her. And the Wimbledon as well.
Yeah, it's not always very easy because when you have established players in that sector, see, the WTA tournaments is quite different from the Grand Slam because the WTA events and the ITF circuit and all that, you tend to meet people that are lesser in ranking and order. Even though they are above you, they're not really that big. But the Grand Slam is basically the best. The top ranked players, the top 20, the top 25, all those ranked players, professionals who has been there doing it maybe for a very long time. So you got to put in your best. You got to be in the rhythm. You got to be very much ready to face them because the pace and everything is not always the same thing. So she had to acclimatize. She had to be in that rhythm to be able to face these players. It was always very difficult for her. She always lost at maybe the first round and all that, and it was not really very easy. You have to build your way up to that level, and every defeat was a lesson for her.
Building your confidence. You know that this is a very huge.
Exactly. Every loss was a lesson for her, like I said, and she had to build her way through playing games and having that motivation. And for me, it helped her. It helped her because she kept growing as the year kept coming.
All right, we'll take a short break now, and when we come back, of course, we have a whole lot. Back is the Sports Personality Show on Atlantic Television Network, and today's edition of the show, we're taking a look at the life of Marketa Vondrousova, the Czech female tennis player. She won the Wimbledon last week and becoming the first unseeded player to win a Wimbledon title. That was such an impressive feat for her. That's why we're taking a look at how she, started her tennis career and what she's been able to do for herself up to this moment. Woke is here, of course, giving us some insightful view about the life of Marketa Vondrousova. But let's take a look at what happened to her in 2018 and 2019 season. Vondrousova had a slow start into the 2018 season, not winning multiple main draw matches at any of her first 5 tournaments of the year, including the Australian Open. Not less, she continued to rise in the ranking as a high number 50. As high as number 50 now, after reaching the 4th round at the Indian Wells Open, where she defeated number 11 Joanna Konta in the 2nd round. Once Vondrousova did not defend the ranking points from her first title during the clay court season, her ranking began to drop as she won just 2 matches on clay and lost her opening round match at the French Open, causing her to fall outside the top 100. She also lost in the opening round at Wimbledon. 2 weeks later, Vondrousova reached her first semi-final of the year at the Ladies Championship. Start. Not less, as she remained outside the top 100 by late August as the last direct acceptance into the main draw of the US Open. Vondrousova produced her best results of the season. She upset world number 13 Kiki Bertens in the 3rd round in a 3rd set tiebreak before losing her next match. This result brought her back to number 71 in the world. For the 2nd consecutive year, she finished at number 65 after ending her season in September. Vondrousova had a strong start into 2019 season. But before we take a look at how she was able to put up a very impressive performance in 2019. Okay, 2018 wasn't really an interesting year for her. We saw her struggling. She has to move back, to top 100, in the ranking, and all of that.
Yeah, she had a very poor 2018. She wasn't really there. She tried, but her efforts didn't really show in her result and all that. And one thing about tennis is, if you are not consistent, you are not winning all those tournaments, you are not going far in those tournaments, it tends to reduce your ranking points, and you tend to start going down, because anybody that is winning will likely go ahead of you and all that. So she didn't really have all the best time in 2018. I think that was her motivation for 2019. She knew that 2018 wasn't really very, very good. She had to do more in 2019. But for me, it happens in tennis. It could be injuries, niggling injuries, maybe not having the right mindset and all that. Maybe family issues also. But it wasn't really that great in 2018. And I think she learned from it. And she had to make 2019 a better one for her.
2019, of course, actually look a bit better for Marketa Vondrousova, though she lost in the 2nd round of the Australian Open in singles. She reached the semi-finals in doubles with Barbora Strenkova, where they lost a tight match to Samantha So and Zheng. Marketa Vondrousova then reached the quarterfinals, or better, at each of her next 6 singles events. The streak included 3 finals appearances and began with runner-up finish to defending champion Alison Van Vanks at the Hungarian Ladies Open. At the Indian Wells Open, Vondrousova upset number 2, world number 2, Simona Halep, the highest ranked opponent she ever defeated, with quarterfinal appearances there, and at the Miami Open she returned to the top 50 for the first time in a little over a year. Vondrousova reached another final at the Istanbul Cup where she lost to number 40 Petra Martic. She then defeated Halep again during a quarterfinal run at the Italian Open. So it was such an impressive one for her. She was able to take a big name then. She's Mona Halep. She was ranked number 2. As at that time, I think there's something so special about Marketa, when it comes to her facing big name players, especially well-ranked, players. She has that confidence and that resilience to always want to fight, especially when she meets a very, very big opponent.
Yes, she has that ginger. She has that motivation to cause upset, to cause havoc in the tennis court, and she did that. She did that in 2019, and it really helped her. She got to the French Open finals, even though she didn't win it, and also did very well in other WTA tournaments, the India Wells, and all that. And for me, that is always a good one. In fact, if you want people to take notice of you, if you want people to start having that fear when they face you, you need to show them what you Marketa did in 2019. She was able to make people to start paying attention to her, take notice of her, know that this is one of the best tennis players that will come in years, and she did that very well. And for me, since then, the fear factor is not really there, even though you don't tend to perform in every match, every tournament. There are tournaments you have off days and all that, but on her day, she can even beat the best in the WTA.
Interesting one for Marketa Vondrousova. Was such an impressive year for her. Let's take a look at how it actually went down for her in the year 2021. Was such an impressive one for her. Now on her debut at the WTA 1000 level in double at the Italian Open, Vondrousova and partner Kristina Mladenovic reached the final, defeating second-seeded duo of Barbara Kuchikova and Katerina Siniakova in the quarterfinals, and wildcard pair Sarah Heney and Kamala Bergu in semi-final. They lost their final to the alternate pair and WTA 1000 level first-time winners Kula Omos and Sharon Pichman. At the Tokyo Olympic, Vondrousova beats 16th seed Kiki Bertens in the laser final ever single match on tour, and Meha Pessecu to reach the third round. There she upset second seed and home favorite Naomi Osaka, beating her in straight set to advance to the quarter final. There she beats Paula Badoza to advance to the semi-final, where she scored her second top 10 win in the tournament. It was such an impressive one, and by beating Elena Vitolina to reach the final and guarantee a medal, she lost to Belinda Bencic in 3 sets and won the silver medal. It was a huge one as well for her at the Olympics.
Yes, 2020 was the COVID year, and there was not really
much.
Nothing happened that year. But 2021, the Olympics had to take place, and other tournaments. I think she also did very well. In fact, getting to the finals of the Olympics for me is a very, very big one. Even though she didn't win it, but along the line during that tournament, she was able to defeat some great tennis players, and she was able to defeat people that we know that have been dominating tennis.
Naomi Osaka,
yes.
Paula Badoza,
Elena, all those tennis WTA tennis players. She was able to defeat them along the line, and for me, that was really very, very impressive. And for me, I think that has shown, like, in tournaments, she tends to be that player that defeats the best, cause the upset and all that. Marketa has shown that she can do that in tournaments, and for me, that's very, very impressive. That's how you know somebody that wants to go far in as a sportsman. When you want to go far, you need to beat all odds. You need to beat the best to be there, and that's what she's doing so far.
Interesting one for Marketa Vondrousova, and we'll see how far she continues with this level of momentum. Of course, she has stepped up her game very well, and from the Wimbledon we saw last week. I think she's up to something. But let's take a look at her life in 2022. As seeded 24th at Indian Wells, she defeated unseeded Magdalena Frick at fourth seed and had contributed to reach the fourth round for the third time at the tournament. From that, she didn't really have much game down there in 2022. But in 2023 was a very, very impressive year for Marketa Vondrousova. Using protected ranking, she reached the third round of the Australian Open, defeating Alison Rex and the second seed Ongevois, and for the Indian Wells Open, defeated Rebecca Marino and 28th seed Maria Boskova. And later, she went one step further into the round of 16 for the fourth time at this at the WTA 1000 tournament, defeating again fourth seed Ongevois at the Miami Open. She reached back-to-back WTA 1000 fourth round, and for the first time since 2021 at the tournament, defeating Taja Maria, 11th seed Veronika Kudermetova, and 17th seed compatriot Karolina Pliskova as well. Okay, so it was really an interesting one. You take a look at how the 2023 started for her. She actually met a very, very huge open, especially Ongevois, which she defeated in the Wimbledon final. She has actually dealt with Ongevois for some time now, and still at the Wimbledon final, she was also able to, beat her once again. What do you make of, her triumph against big names, especially Ongevois, in the year 2023?
I think that was very, very good. That was very, very good. Like I said, she has this. I don't know. She has this. Anytime she meets the big guns, she tends to perform very well. She tends to bring her A game, and for me, that's what she did. Doing the Wimbledon Open. She was very, very fantastic with the way she was able to navigate those Grand Slam games, and in the finals against Ongevois, I think she also performed very, very well. It was a very impressive performance from her. So maybe people were expecting maybe Ongevois to win because she was finalist last year also. People expected her maybe to go one better this time around, but Marketa Vondrousova did not allow her to do that. She stood her ground and was able to win that tournament. For me, very, very impressive for her, because when you look the people she was able to defeat along the line, very worthy opponents, and for me, very, very impressive. I think her career has been going up and up and up, and let's see how it goes down the years. Even though we know the WTA and the inconsistency, we have seen maybe Iga Swiatek try to dominate in these last few years, but she also lost in the tournament to the same Marketa. Yes, she was the one that defeated her, if I'm not mistaken, doing was it quarterfinal or semi-finals. And for me, a lot of things happened during the Wimbledon. She was able to make a mark, defeat these players, and for me, getting to the finals, it was always there to take, because when you look at the motivation of, when you look at the opponents you have defeated, it gives you that extra edge, extra motivation to go one better. If I can be able to defeat these guys, I can be able to defeat this player in the finals. I think that was what helped her, and for me, very impressive. She was able to win. For me, she just has to be consistent. That's just it. She just has to be very confident. We still have one Grand Slam before the year runs out. So she has to show us that winning the Wimbledon Open was not a fluke. She can do maybe the doubles, or maybe win more WTA tournaments before the year runs out.
I think it was Elena Vitolina defeated Iga Swiatek.
Okay, yes, I remember that. Yes,
it was really an impressive one at the Wimbledon.
Yes.
Now, talking about the Wimbledon this year, Marketa Vondrousova reached the fourth round for the first time at this major at the Wimbledon, defeating Petra Strain, 12th seed Veronika Kudermetova, and 20th seed Donna Vekic. With the results, she reached the fourth round at all Grand Slam tournaments. In the fourth round, she defeated 32nd seed and compatriot Maria Boskova, reaching the quarterfinals of the major. for the first time since 2019 French Open. In the quarterfinal, she overcame a 4-1 third set deficit to beat fourth seed Jessica Pegula and advance to her first Wimbledon semi-final. She became only the third woman in the Open era to defeat fourth seed to reach the semi-final at the Wimbledon. That's one, along with St. Jill. It was such an impressive one we saw from her in that particular award. She defeated Elena Victorina, who received a wild card into the tournament in straight sets in the semi-final to progress to her first Wimbledon final and second Grand Slam overall. And she didn't actually take it that easy. She was able to beat Angebois in the final and became the first unseeded ladies single Wimbledon champion in the Open era. At when at number 42, she was seeded 42 going down to the Wimbledon. That's the first time we've seen an unseeded player winning the Wimbledon title. Was such an impressive one for Marketa Vondrousova. Okay.
Yeah, very impressive. Even getting to the finals, Anjuba was already there. In fact, people knew Anjuba because the previous years she has been in the finals of this same tournament. So people like expected Anjuba to win this one. People expected her to get one over Marketa, but that didn't really happen on that day. I think she did very, very well based on the motivation she had. She had to work hard, and she was able to do it. And for me, her first finals in Wimbledon, her first win, it shows that she can get better. I think this will be like a motivation for her. Unseeded in the draws, but now she can be able to boast that she was able to do it even without being seeded.
Interesting one for Marketa Vondrousova, such an impressive one, and courtesy of victory at the Wimbledon, she now made the top 10 in the latest WT ranking. She's the number 10 now. I know when it comes to the latest ranking, I think that's a very huge feat, for Marketa Vondrousova going forward, in her career, and this has been a very huge rise. You talk about subsequent tournaments, coming up, for her. How do you see her maintaining this momentum going forward?
Well, first of all, she has to stay injury-free. The first step, I think, the WTA tournaments, she needs to participate. Watch how she plays. Maybe if it's possible, I don't know. Select tournaments to go, and before the US Open, she has to be very fit. She has to be in the right condition. Yes,
her personal life, as she married her longtime partner, visual effects artist Stefan Semik. They had been engaged since 2020, Tokyo Olympic, due to COVID-19. To the COVID in 2021, where Vondrousova won the silver medal. Vondrousova and Semik live in Prague and have a cat named Frankie. Vondrousova is also known for her extensive tattoo. What do you make of it? She married a long-time partner, and there's one special thing about her tattoos. She doesn't joke with it, and her cats. She named Frankie as well.
People from that region, we know how they pay so much attention to pets and all that. Well, they have not, they don't have children for now, and you have to have something to keep you busy at the moment. So for me, it's very, very good. Tattoos, yeah. People from those regions, we see them, but not everybody likes tattoos, but when you like it, you tend to make it a habit in your body. Some people go to the extent of tattooing everywhere in their body and all that. So for me, not really bad. I don't think it has any effect on any sportsman and or women and all that. So for me, very good for her. Her life, her personal life, no much issues. I know we don't get to hear so much about their personal life and all that. Maybe because the husband is not really out in the scene, we don't tend to see so much. We tend to hear about only Marketa and not the husband. So for me, very good. No much issues, no much problem in her personal life. I don't know whether there will be in future, but we get to see.
All right, let's take a look at our net worth. Macadamia Silva has an estimated net worth of $4 million, with her main source of income being from her career, as a tennis player. So tennis is a very, very lucrative sport.
Yeah, she will make more. It depends on how her level. She just have